Hi, this is Molly. Welcome back to my channel. We're going to take a look at the Aquarius New Moon that's happening here January 24th, 2020 at 1:42 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time, so adjust for your location on the planet. Now, the Aquarius New Moon is when the sun and the moon are conjunct together in the 11th sign of the zodiac. We see them here at 4 degrees of Aquarius, 21 minutes. This is the yin and the yang, the feminine and the masculine, united and beginning a new cycle together. The new moon is when the sky is the darkest. It's when the seeds of intention are planted. And in the 11th sign of Aquarius, we're looking at things that are beyond the everyday. Where you're going, what the future is, new possibilities. There's an electricity with this Aquarius energy. There's excitement. There's a sense of possibility. There can even be a sense of fresh air, fresh ideas, a fresh sense of who you are now and what you need to do. Now, Aquarius is an air sign, and it is all about thoughts, ideas. It's very creative energy. It has a lot of social stimuli, interactions, ideas. There's the Aquarian energy that's associated with friendships and the networks and the tribe. It's also, on the other side of that spectrum, the individual and who you are, who the individual is within the group dynamic, within the tribe. And a sense of self can be developed with this new moon, a sense of individuation, a sense of this is how I'm different. And that difference is my strength. And that's what I then offer out into the collective. So this energy is quite dynamic. And you can see that we also have Mercury here at 13 degrees of Aquarius. So it's not quite conjunct, but it's still in the air and it's still moving along, keeping things interesting, new, fresh, and having us think beyond what we've thought before. So there's a lot of mind-opening energy. Aquarius is where we get a new understanding, a new breakthrough, a new genius energy. It is a genius frequency, and it's meant to be different. It's meant to have something unique and special that it offers back to the collective. So here at 4 degrees of Aquarius, we have a few strong aspects going on at this new moon. And the most important is the one where we are having the sun and the moon squaring Uranus at 2 degrees of Taurus, 43 minutes. Now this square is actually exact with Uranus 2 days before the new moon. So January 22nd is when the sun makes an exact square to Uranus, and then the moon exactly squares Uranus about a few hours before this new moon. So the energy of the new moon is already in effect, essentially. It's been building the week prior. It's been electric and felt and unexpected. And the square to Uranus is disruptive. It's shocking, unexpected, didn't see that coming. It's a sense of also breaking out of what has been stagnant or stuck. And that's especially strong because of how Taurus is a fixed sign. Aquarius is a fixed sign. These are the energies that like stability, reliability, don't want change. But this is a very disruptive, changing dynamic energy here. So it has a shock factor to it. And there's something that needs to shift. There's something that has to change at this new moon. And you're going to know about it at least 2 days prior. And you're going to perhaps on January 22nd have the shock, and then at the new moon, new understandings of what to do going forward, new possibilities, new solutions, new insights. Something is still vibrating. I mean, this is a very dynamic energy that is meant to break us out of where we haven't been able to move. And I feel like ultimately, this can be very difficult if you don't see it coming and if you feel like you're caught unawares. But there's something to be said about how it's meant to lead you on a healing path, because of how the sun and the moon are also sextiling Chiron at 2 degrees of Aries. And that also happens the same, so it's the same pattern because it's at 2 degrees, just like Uranus at 2 degrees. So again, 2 days prior, when the sun is at 2 degrees of Aquarius, it makes a sextile to Chiron as it squares Uranus. There's a healing in yourself over the week. There's something you're meant to see within yourself that's ready to be brought to the light, expressed, and understood. And this new moon is actually inviting you to direct the energy towards this Chiron and to look at what is triggered, the wounds, the fears that you're then meant to work through and find a new sense of self. There's a leadership energy here. There's a sense of figuring it out on your own. I mean, this is a very independent. There's a lot of independence here at this new moon, which is the Aquarius energy, also the Aries and the Taurus. So it's like there's a lot of independence here. There's something new in yourself to understand, and maybe you've been blocking it, and the Uranus is certainly a game changer energy to help you see what can be used for your best and highest good. Now, we still have the effects of Saturn-Pluto conjunction. They are still only 1 degree apart here as we move through the end of January. It's still very intense, still very strong, and they are not connecting to any other planets. They're still in a very big energy at 23 and 24 degrees of Capricorn here. So I feel like this is, I'm just getting the image of where the energy is the most intense, understandably, because it's been 37 years since this exact conjunction has happened. But then we have the way forward coming through. It's not what you thought, and it's meant to help you on your own path here. So quite dynamic, really, quite dynamic. We also have this Mercury receiving an energetic sextile from Mars at 14 degrees of Sag. Energetic sextile. This is the Mars energy is supporting the projects, ideas, solutions. All these mercurial energies are getting a boost. So there's something here that's really energized in what you're meant to go forward with. The plan, the project, what is in front of you that maybe it's coming together, but it comes together more swiftly with a Mars sextile. So that is quite big and quite dynamic. We also have Venus here at 13 degrees of Pisces, approaching the conjunction to Neptune at 16 degrees of Pisces. And this conjunction is often one of needing a break, needing a vacation, Pisces being escapism, Venus being pleasure and what feels good and what you want to do. Almost, where you need to go because of the intensity here. How you take care of yourself, what feels good, what just, takes you out of these real world intense experiences and gives you something enjoyable. There's definitely a need for it at this time. And this is the feminine, and she is certainly in her strength in Pisces, and she's much more intuitive, emotional, private, romantic. She is looking for something that is lovely and calm and soothing, and that's really important right now. So follow anything, and this conjunction to Neptune is an opener opens up the energy to the other realms, the higher self. Neptune is where our higher self is showing up. It's how our higher self is traveling with us. So now Venus meets up with the higher self energy. It expands her feminine elements, her feminine abilities. It expands what she feels. It expands her intuition and her spiritual growth. So this could also not only need a break, but need more sleep, need naps, vivid sleep. The Pisces energies are going to be extra strong as well as we move over the next few days of this new moon. And then you'll also notice how Venus and Neptune in Pisces have a approaching square here. Mars at 14 degrees of Sag approaching that square. Mars being the masculine, Venus the feminine. They're on very different pages right now. Mars is strong in his masculine. Venus is strong in her feminine. But the square is tension. Tension in relationships. Tension in the masculine feminine desires and needs and where they want to go. This is independence. This is a sense of wanting to be alone. There's just been this tension that actually persists into February. So know that that is just part of what's in the energy of what's in the collective. And as this Mars square approaches 16 degrees and gets to Neptune and Pisces, this is a slowdown because this Neptune and Pisces will take the speed and energy out of Mars. Neptune being more powerful, it will add this dampening energy. So that can be felt to the ego, to this part of Mars in Sag that wants to do his own thing and explore, and it could feel like a slowdown. So I would say the last week or so of January, I'm thinking that it's going to be just shortly after this new moon. There is some kind of a slowdown physically. Take care of your body. This Neptune squaring Mars can be a sickness, can be a slowdown that you didn't plan, but something, again, that physically we feel. I feel like there could also be something just in the world that hits or that feels like it's exhausting. The Neptune and Pisces removes the ego drive and the willpower of Mars. So that certainly affects masculine energies. And again, you can see it as, the higher self saying it's time for a slowdown and it's time for a break, which frankly is needed after these big energies we've had throughout the month of January 2020. Another aspect we have going on is this Jupiter at 12 degrees of Capricorn, making a sextile here to the two planets in Pisces. This is a stabilizing Jupiter in Capricorn, very practical, very clear, decisive, do what you need to do. This energy supporting Venus and supporting Neptune actually is fortuitous and is connecting you with the long-term planning, because in Capricorn it's always about the commitments we make, how we show up in the world, what we're choosing, what we're deciding, and it's asking you to do what you need to do for the long term. This can be inspired plans as well, and whatever the inspirations are that are coming through here, this brings in the practicality. This Jupiter brings in, hey, I got the solution. Hey, I know the person to talk to. Hey, I know the opportunity. So that is a nice energy whenever we have that supportive sextile to Jupiter. So at this new moon, you want to make sure and look at what you want for the road ahead, what 2020, what you want to manifest and create in 2020, what matters to you now, where you want to go, and where you want your energy to be. I also feel that this energy has a sense of self, a sense of self-knowingness, and what is exciting and interesting now, the new plans, the new adventures, the new endeavors that are fitting you and asking you to take some leaps. And I say that because of how Aquarius is very forward thinking and asks you to look at the bigger picture, the bigger systems, the bigger dynamics, the bigger possibilities. It is associated with quantum physics, for example, and how we work with energy in very advanced ways at times. So there's something here that's really about advancing you into this year and advancing you into something that's a bigger path, perhaps, or a new path, and to allow yourself the change as it's coming through. As that change happens with the square to Uranus 2 days before the new moon could then bring in some new possibilities of where to go. So it is a disruptive energy, but it has an exciting note to it, and it's asking you to keep going and to look at how you're traveling through the world and traveling into 2020 after these very intense energies, knowing that there is a big journey ahead in this decade, but as long as you're aware of who you are, you're going to be able to navigate it beautifully. So thank you so much for joining me. If you want to learn astrology with me, I do teach some classes that are below this video. And I do have a podcast that I upload here on YouTube on Mondays and Wednesdays. You can also hear the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, Blog Talk Radio, and wherever podcasts are distributed. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you a very beautiful Aquarius New Moon.